At 3 a.m., mirrors stop behaving like objects. They stop reflecting rooms and start reflecting time. The light is softer, the house quieter, and the face that appears is not performing for anyone anymore. This is the hour when mirrors feel heavier than glass, when they hold expressions never practiced, questions never spoken, and versions of the self that daylight politely ignores. Nothing has changed, except the silence finally listens back. A daily object, always present, seen often, understood rarely. Mirrors live where life passes without ceremony. Bathrooms, hallways, bedrooms, places where people arrive unfinished and leave prepared. They're glanced at, adjusted in front of, corrected through. A tie straightened, a face washed, a smile rehearsed. Most of the time, mirrors are not truly seen. They are treated like tools, functional, neutral, obedient. They confirm that hair is acceptable, posture is presentable, identity is intact enough to step outside. But even during the day, mirrors are absorbing more than they are asked to show. They notice hesitation before leaving a room. They register the way shoulders drop when no one is watching. They reflect faces that briefly forget to perform. At night, this quiet observation becomes heavier. At 3 a.m., mirrors no longer participate in routines. There is no audience waiting beyond the door, no role to prepare for, no version of the self that needs to be convincing. What appears instead is familiarity stripped of intention, a face that is not asking to be approved, eyes that are not trying to look awake, confident, or fine. The mirror does not change. The person does. In this hour, mirrors feel closer, not physically, but psychologically. They reflect not just features, but presence. They return the weight of being alone with oneself. This is the beginning of discomfort, not because the reflection is wrong, but because it is honest in a way daylight never demands. Repetition creates intimacy. Memory forms without permission. Mirrors do not witness one moment. They witness patterns. They see the same face hundreds of times across years, aging quietly, changing subtly, resisting acknowledgement. They reflect grief before it is named, exhaustion before it is admitted, longing before it finds language. The emotional charge does not come from a single night. It comes from accumulation. The mirror learns expressions that are never shown outside. The look after a difficult message is read. The pause after an argument ends without resolution. The stare that follows another night of not sleeping. These moments are brief, but they repeat. And repetition is how memory settles into objects. Humans return to mirrors during transitions, before leaving, after arriving, while waiting for something inside to settle. Each visit leaves a trace, not on the glass, but in association. The mind begins to link the mirror with vulnerability, with the moments when masks are adjusted or dropped entirely. Over time, the mirror becomes a container, not because it chooses to be, but because it is always there when the self is unguarded. At 3 a.m., these stored moments surface. The reflection does not show the past, yet the past feels present. This is how mirrors become emotionally heavy. They hold continuity. They remember who stood there when no one else did. And when a person meets that remembered self again, the recognition is quiet, but piercing. Seeing is not the same as recognizing. The mind fills in what the glass does not say. Psychologically, mirrors activate self-awareness, not identity, but observation. They turn attention inward without warning. During the day, this awareness is buffered by noise. Tasks, interactions, expectations soften the impact of being seen. At night, those buffers dissolve. The brain, already tired, loses its ability to edit. Defenses weaken. The inner narrator becomes less protective. At 3 a.m., the mirror does not introduce new thoughts. It removes distractions that usually keep them at bay. This is why the reflection feels confrontational. Not because it judges, but because it invites the mind to do so. Humans are wired to search for coherence. When the face in the mirror does not match the story told during the day, discomfort arises. The mind asks questions it avoids at safer hours. Is this who you are? Is this who you have become? Is this who you were trying not to notice? The mirror remains silent. But silence allows interpretation. Projection begins. Unspoken fears are placed onto features. Regret settles into the eyes. Loneliness finds shape and posture. The mirror becomes a psychological surface, not a physical one. It reflects inner states disguised as appearance. And at 3 a.m., when emotional volume is high and cognitive control is low, the reflection feels unbearably precise. Some reflections are looked past. Some are avoided entirely. Many people avoid mirrors at night without consciously deciding to. Lights are left off. Eyes turn away. Phones become safer points of focus. This avoidance is not about vanity. It is about emotional exposure. Mirrors ask nothing, yet demand presence. They remove the option of distraction. To look is to acknowledge. An acknowledgement feels risky when emotions are uncontained. There is resistance because mirrors do not respond. They do not comfort. They do not argue back. They do not reframe pain into something manageable. They simply remain. This stillness makes space for truths that feel too large to hold. Fatigue amplifies them. Silence gives them room. So people learn how to look, not because they fear what they will see, but because they fear what they will feel. Avoidance becomes protection. Turning away preserves distance between the self that functions and the self that aches. Yet the mirror stays where it is, waiting without intent. And this quiet persistence creates tension, because what is avoided does not disappear. It gathers weight. Nothing changes outwardly. Something shifts inward. There's often a night when avoidance fails, when a light is turned on without thinking, when the reflection is met by accident. The moment is unremarkable and irreversible. The face appears, tired, familiar, human. No revelation arrives. No solution forms. But recognition settles in. This is not an enemy. This is not a stranger. This is a person who has been carrying more than they realized. The mirror does not accuse. It witnesses. And in that witnessing, something softens. Not pain, but resistance to seeing it. The realization is quiet. Nothing is wrong with noticing. The reflection becomes less sharp, not because it changes, but because the mind stops bracing against it. This moment does not heal. It does not fix. It does not promise transformation. It simply allows the self to exist without immediate correction. And that allowance, though small, alters the weight of tea. He encounter, the mirror remains. The relationship shifts. Mirrors will continue to hurt at 3 a.m. Not always, but sometimes. Because they are still mirrors. And people are still human. But pain does not have to mean danger. Over time, the mirror becomes less of a confrontation and more of a companion in stillness. A place where the self can arrive without performance. The glass does not demand answers. It does not track progress. It does not require improvement. It simply reflects what is present. Living beside the mirror means allowing it to be what it is. A surface where inner states briefly appear, then pass. At 3 a.m., this coexistence matters, because the night magnifies everything. To stand before the mirror without turning away is not courage. It is permission. Permission to be unfinished, to be tired, to be quiet without explanation. The mirror remains silent. But silence, when met without fear, becomes spacious. And in that space, the reflection loses its edge. Not because the hurt disappears, but because it no longer stands alone. The mirror is still there. So is the person. Both understood, just enough to remain.